Was I saying? Oh, yes, that's right. Court system. So Congress the first Congress faced the job of forming the nation's court system. Some favored a uniform legal system for the whole nation. Others were like, no, the states are fine. So basically, what ended up was a compromise. The Judiciary Act of 1789 said that states could kind of do their own thing as far as court system established among themselves, but if it was unconstitutional, then the national judicial system would step in and could reverse state decisions. So it gives the federal court system, the ultimate power. And then Bill of Rights. We can talk about this for like 3 chapters, but Bill of Rights are the first 10 amendments to the Constitution, and it protected the rights of citizens. There actually were 12 amendments that were introduced. Only 10 of them made it. But we have freedom of speech, right? We People who are accused of crimes have certain rights. These are all established under the Bill of Rights. And then going to the next slide. There we go. New economy. Alexander Hamilton was extremely influential in establishing the government's financial policies. Go ahead and watch the video on Hamilton's plan. And we're back. All right, so he wanted to establish a national bank. He also thought that we should pay back the debts that our nation owed. During the American Revolution, many people bought bonds, or in other words, they bought a certificate that they'd end up getting reimbursed later on. Well, a lot of them kind of gave up hope in getting reimbursed, and so they sold them for less than what they bought them for. And so now a lot of people have these bonds that really didn't pay a whole lot for them. And Hamilton was like, no, let's go ahead and pay off those bonds. Many people, particularly in the South, were like, no, that's not what we want, because the people who have the bonds actually aren't the ones who originally paid for them. He also kind of came into opposition with the South too, because he was like, we're going to pay off all of our debt. We got to do that first before people can give us money. And the South didn't have a lot of debt. And so they're like, and a lot of them had already paid off their debt. So it's like, why are you going to do this? And so there was some opposition to the plan. Bonds are notes that promise repayment of borrowed money in the future. All right, so there ends up being a compromise. Compromise was like, hey, South, if you go along with this, we'll have the capital of the United States like in the South. So technically, like Maryland, Virginia, was technically in the South, even though maybe many don't consider it that. But there was a piece of land that was later named Washington, D.C., in George Washington's honor, and it becomes the nation's capital. So while that was all happening, New York was the original capital. Then it went to Philadelphia, and now D.C. is where it currently is, actually. And so there was a fight for a national bank. Eventually, Congress gives power to create a national bank. Many thought it was unconstitutional to have a national bank. But basically Alexander Hamilton used the Constitution that gave Congress the power to collect taxes and borrow money, saying that means that I can have a bank, or the nation can have a bank. All right, so in order to gain money, there were tariffs and taxes that were levied. One of the taxes was on whiskey, and that's going to end up being an issue in the next few lessons. Spoiler alert. So some of his ideas created conflict. Thomas Jefferson very much opposed Alexander Hamilton. James Madison did as well. They worried that Hamilton was building a dangerously powerful government run by the wealthy, and they began to organize opposition to Hamilton and the policies he favored. This would end up leading to a two-party system. Another spoiler alert. All right, so watch the biography on Alexander Hamilton. If you want to watch the Broadway musical Alexander Hamilton, I don't know how historically accurate that is, but it might be entertaining. All right, this is Mr. Henning signing off.